Welcome back to Whatever Garage. This episode we're going to have a special guest and I'll introduce him shortly. But first, we're going to use our cheap Chinese spy scope to see what's inside my tank. Let's get started. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit about paint and body, on how to do things properly. We have a professional coming today to assist me. And by assist me, I mean teach me. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure your equipment is running right. Here we have my DeWalt 60-gallon air compressor. And I am not very good at keeping maintenance up on it. I have not drained this tank since January, and it is now the end of August. So we're going to take a look at what's inside of your tank if you don't drain it properly and regularly. When you're using your air tools, you know, if you use them a lot, then you start noticing after a while they start spitting and sputtering, and you get condensation coming out of them. Well, and that's why you got to oil them, because if not, that stuff will get in there and rust them all to hell. Ask me how I know. I go through more cheap air tools than anything else. So I opened up the valve yesterday, so there's no air in it now. So I'm gonna show you my tank. About 2 or 3 Christmases ago, I splurged on myself and got myself a brand new tank. I wanted something that I could grow into and not grow out of. So this is perfect. I can sand all day long and not have to worry about it. And I put a pressure relief valve on the side. And yesterday I opened it and blew all this out, so she is empty of air. So we're gonna go in through here and take a look and see what's at the bottom of this tank. Now, I live in the southern region of the United States, and it is very, very humid here. Very humid. So I wouldn't be surprised at how much water is in here. There's probably a little lake at the bottom here. Now, depending on where you live, I don't know what you would get, but this will give you a rough idea. I'm gonna figure out how to work this thing. We got power, and I don't have a memory card in it. And I want to record this to show y'all. If y'all will remember, I've had the worst luck with memory cards. I put one in here and it says it's working. Okay, now I gotta switch over to video. Please format the card. See, I told you. I don't think this card will format, and now I'm stuck. All right, give me a second. I had to finally go through about 3 or 4 different SD cards before I get one that would format. This one says it's working, so let's see what happens. All right. All right, so she's recording. Open up, say ah. Oh, look at that. See that rust right there? That looks like the side of it. I think I see water. Either that or we're in the water. Look at that, looks like water right there. Let's switch cameras and see if there's a difference. It's a little more clear, whatever it is. All right, right there is the seam. Hold on. Let me look on the outside and see if I can find the seam. Oh yeah, it's right here. Okay, so we are on the seam. We were on the seam. Can't really see anything with that. just won't go down anymore. I'm looking at the side. Alright guys, this has been a failure. Or maybe not. Look at that. Look at that crap. Can you see it now? Let's wipe this crap off. So, there is a lot of condensation down there, I think. Even though we couldn't really see it, it looks like this was deep in it. I mean, I was all the way back here. I only need that much to see. Let's try this again. I want this thing to go down. Okay, that's down, and look there. Do you see the sludge? We are literally almost on it. Okay, right there. Okay, hold on just a second. We just passed, as you can see as it's rocking back and forth, you can see the seam along the side, and then it comes down about here. So there's that much water in here, from here down. Looks like oil and rust and water. Alright. Oh, and I didn't record that. Son of a bitch. Thought I hit record, I guess I didn't. It is slowly draining. I had to stick something up here to unclog it. And then I have to put it to this hose to go to this hose, because I don't have anything that'll reach it. So, there you go. You're up to date.
A few moments later.
All right. We are still draining the tank. It's slow going. The hose thing just was taking forever, so I'm just gonna let it go out on the floor. It's garage, it'll dry. And that just tells you how often you need to actually drain your tanks, because this whole section in the bottom was full. I mean, it's still going now, and it's been 10-15 minutes. So now granted, the drain hole is not that big. Using the spout they give you, you can take that off and it just come out in a big old dump, but trying to do it easy. All right, it's done draining. So let's shut the valve, and then we're gonna fill her back up. All right, everybody, here's our special guest. This is Jason Curry from Paint with Curry. Paint by Curry? Paint by Curry, I'm sorry. I'll put the name right about here, and then we'll have it in the description. He is going to help me mess up my hood, and he's going to show me some of the equipment that he's got to show the difference between mine and his and what I could be doing better. All right, so let's get started. We got Sasha in the shop also. Oh, there you are. Sorry, wrong camera. Sasha's in the shop. He's got all his equipment out here displayed. His, mine, and he's just going to show the differences. And in the background, I don't know if you can see, but Toby the cameraman came back to work, so we're going to see how well he does today. All right, take it away, Jason.
All right, what do we got here? All right, typically, you know, what you've got is a Durablock kit. Uses sticky back sandpaper. Nothing wrong with it. Best bang for the buck when you're going to be doing body work.
All right.
Okay. Just a little further advanced, different things. If you have something that's, say, a hook it style.
Okay.
This one here is a vacuum style hook it deal. Also adjustable, so you can actually create curves.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Reverse curves, or
Okay.
you know, obviously the other way.
Right.
So when you have a high crown area, such as like the fender on the Corvette, something like this can help you in that situation.
Okay. Now you just hook that shop back to that?
Yep, there's a hose that connects straight to a shop vac, so you get a lot less dust. As long as you're using the hook it style vacuum sandpaper that also has the holes in it, just
Okay.
like these.
Even
Next is a
smaller.
smaller, same deal. It's a hook and loop vacuum style. This one here is different though. The bottom comes off. So where we have a flat style like this here, we also have a curved one as well, and then a slightly less curved one,
Okay.
and even a reverse curve.
Now who makes that?
That is from Merca. Both of these are from Merca. They also
Okay.
make sandpaper. Very popular Finnish company, I do believe,
Okay.
where they're out of.
Oh, finish as in
Finland.
Finland, not
Yeah.
as in done.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Now these here are just some old school blocks. These are old school 3Ms. These are completely hard. There is no flex to these.
Okay.
Obviously a very long version, a medium, and a short. These are your classics. These are at least 25 years old at this point.
Wow.
Those are great for doing anything flat. You know,
Okay.
you run into your situations where a lot of times doors, real big quarter panels on something like a 55, 57 Chevrolet, something really big and flat, you're
Right.
going to use something like that.
Okay.
And from there, we've got some homemade type deals. Now these are Durablocks here, but I've glued on acrylic to the bottom.
Okay.
So this gives us a good, hard, flat surface. If you're going for a super smooth finish, you're looking for that mirror finish, you need something firm and flat. And that's where the sticky back paper on something hard like this is going to work the best. When you're using a cushiony style, you know, Velcro back, you're losing a little bit of that good, smooth finish that you're going to get.
Because of the give in it?
Yeah, because there is that little bit of give. Now you lose a little bit of that with a typical Durablock because of the material,
Right.
but that's why I glue this on here. You know,
Okay.
It keeps it flat, and it also gives it, I've got some score marks through here where it can curve just a little bit.
And you did that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, these are some older ones I had. You can see they're actually hook and loop, and they're not hook and loop anymore.
Yeah.
Even the smaller one is done, but then we have the big one. Big one's the same way. It's scored and
Okay.
cut,
Yeah.
so that when you're working large areas again, you can kind of create that little bit of crown. You can get everything nice and straight, and plus with that Lexan on there, that acrylic, you get a really flat finish.
Okay.
So that when you go to your final product and you're painting that car, you're going to end up with a much closer to a mirror finish than you would with something with a Velcro back.
Okay.
And then of course we also have some extras, you know, with some curves in them. When you're trying to work those reverse curve areas, you do have a round one, basically like a broomstick we
Yeah.
used to use.
I was using those for like on the hood. Oh, like
Yeah,
right
we're
here,
going
like
to end
right
up
here,
using,
yeah.
we can use these on the hood here.
Okay.
Let's see, depending on the contour, if we're doing hook and loop, you know, that's almost the same contour.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Both of those will work great, even the larger one here. You know, you never want it too small, but that's close enough to really work that and get that curve in there.
Okay.
And finally, another older one. This one here is great for big flat stuff. This will use about a half a sheet of the actual sheets of sandpaper, just a regular, no sticky bag, no hook and loop. It's just
Right.
you clamp it on each end, and it works
Oh yeah.
fantastic. Sandpaper is really cheap, but when you're on really big flat areas like you'd be back there, that'll get it nice and flat,
Okay.
real quick and easy because you have such a large surface.
Okay.
So just an idea of different options that are out there.
Right.
We're going to be using yours, which is going to be great. Stick back sandpaper, you're still going to get a really good finish out of it
Okay.
because there isn't really any cushion. These are pretty firm. And then what we're going to end up doing is we'll guide code all your body work that you've got on here now, where you've already put some filler, where you've already identified some low spots. So we'll guide code that stuff, and we'll go through with some 80 grit, start working it down. We'll find any other spots that may need a little more attention, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, sounds good. So I guess we need to move outside.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right. See, this is my professional production. This is how it goes every day.
Look, man, I'm doing mine by myself just like you, and it is a pain in the ass some days.
The cameras are on, so feel free to talk to them.
All right, so let's guide coat this. This is going to be your friend.
Okay.
By using this, we're going to be able to see where we've sanded and where we have not sanded.
Oh, okay.
So any low area is going to show you, but you got to remember when you're using this that as you're sanding, you might find a low area, which means everything around it's high. But if you continuously try to get that low area out, you may actually have a true low area that's going to need more filler.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking for. We're going to get everything as smooth as we can, see how much of this is actually going to disappear,
Okay.
and then see what else we come across. And if we have to, we'll wipe some body filler on. So.
Okay, sounds good. It's actually good to know because I thought that was only done on primer when you're trying to get it flat. I didn't realize you could do that on when you're sanding.
No, when it comes to
bodywork.
guide coat, if you're like a super custom guy, they use guide coat every single time they're sanding.
Okay.
If
That's
they're,
good to know.
if they're sanding the car to polish, they're going to put guide coat on that brand new finish, and they're going to sand it off, and then they're going to guide coat it again, they're going to sand it off, until they get everything exactly the way it needs to be with your scratches and all this stuff. It is,
Wow. That's a lot. That's probably why I don't
when it
buy
comes to this, it's a lot. It is a lot of labor.
Yeah.
We're going to use both of these blocks.
Okay.
We do have a longer one. I'm not going to worry about it right now. We're going to just work on this area since we've already done quite a bit of work on everything else. So we're just trying to find what's wrong, if anything, right here.
Okay.
Also, we're going to be working kind of in an X pattern.
Right.
You never want to just keep sanding in a straight line because you're going to end up with grooves going down where you've been doing that. So you always want to work in an X.
Right.
So in that situation, we would be cutting this way, and then we're going to move up and away, and then up and away.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and do the same thing. And we're going to continue to do that. You can also go forward and backward. You can go side to side. It kind of depends on what shape you've got.
Right.
With this thing coming up and we're looking for that peak or that kind of a body line, we want to knock this down, but we also want to keep that in mind because what we're going to want to do is, if this is our ridge, our peak, where that body line is, we want to come up and stop there.
Right.
So we're going to kind of do some of this as we're working.
Okay.
Same thing over here. We're going to just, for now, we can imagine where that line is because we know we've got, just by feeling this, we know we're a little high.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of work all this down, see where we end up. And like I said, we'll probably end up doing a glaze coat over everything.
Okay.
And that'll just kind of ensure that we've taken care of the entire area.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, when I laid it out, did I put up too much on there or not enough? Or, I mean, we know I should have gone up higher, but like here, was this too thick or should it have been smoother? Or
I don't think you were too thick.
Okay.
A lot of what you're seeing right now is from the spreading.
Right.
I'll show you some better techniques on spreading.
Okay.
That's a learned experience as well. Basically timing versus hardener in your mix.
Right.
How big of an area you need to do, how fast you need to get it done, and then trying to get it smooth. That's a learned experience.
I have difficulty with that. My stuff normally knocks off before I'm done.
Right. We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
I mean, you can already tell kind of where a lot of this is high.
Right.
You can feel this now pretty more predominantly where that's a low valley right there.
Okay. Yeah.
But it feels that way because we're still high out here. So where all the guide coat's gone, that's where we're actually sanding and getting rid of material. Everywhere else, we're not even getting rid of anything yet. So That's why we're going to work with the little shorter one right now.
Okay.
Because we're kind of focused on the body filler you put on there.
Right.
Now, you'll notice right here, we're already starting to see the original primer that's on here where you began with. So
Right.
we know we've got this down to a point where it's pretty close to even, except for this little area back here.
Right.
But we don't want to keep working on this because then we're going to just keep digging into the hood.
Okay.
So at that point, we're going to kind of stop in a sense over here. We're not going to really work it to death. That's going to be where your areas close by, they're going to need more body filler.
Okay.
So, you know, imagine if that was a piece of metal there,
Right.
showing through. You know, you're not going to go any further because it's metal. In
Right.
this case, we've got fiberglass. You can dig into it, but you're going to end up making a weird spot there that you're going to have to wipe anyway.
Yeah.
We'll switch to a new piece because something's about to run out.
They wear out that quick?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of feel the difference in it. When you start losing those real high peaks on it,
Yeah.
you get it where it's just kind of flat and you're not being really effective.
Okay.
When it comes to this stuff, don't be scared to change sandpaper, and
Okay.
don't be scared to use a roll of tape. So we've pretty much identified all of our spots that need some addressing.
Okay.
All right, so we do want to kind of feather the edge out before we bother putting anything on,
Okay.
as well as anytime you're putting body filler on, everything needs mechanical adhesion. So you need to sand everywhere that you're going to be putting something on, whether it's body filler, paint, primer, anything. You always want mechanical adhesion, which is sanding.
Okay, so does this 80 grit count as the mechanical adhesion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, when you're in bodywork stage, you're going to typically deal with 80 grit sandpaper. You're going to work kind of in a range as you move into primer, but for bodywork itself, you're typically going to use 80 to 120, and then when we're getting ready for primer, we'll step up to around 150, 180, 220 max.
Okay.
And that's because primer needs more of a grit to really grab onto.
Okay.
So the primer will take care of any of the scratches that you're going to have that are going to be 180, 220 range. But you need that 80 to 120 to get the body filler to stick good, even less than that in most cases, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
So we're going to scratch all this up with 80 grit.
All right.
And
then we'll go get some more body fill?
Yep.
All right. All right, we're going to watch Jason mix up a little batch here. Since I can't figure out how to get my mixture right, he's going to show us.
Think of it like a baseball or golf ball or whatever you want to think of it as. So we've got about a baseball size. We don't need anything more than about as big as my thumb.
Okay.
If it was a golf ball, you need like the end of a pencil, especially right now we're what, 85 degrees probably. So
Okay.
we do not need a whole lot.
So in other words, I was using way too much. See, because I would always do like an inch line or something like that, but it seemed like I did it for everything.
Well, in most cases, if you, let's say we have an area like this, like size of a softball, if it's 70 degrees, you can run you a thin bead across it and you're fine. You're still
Okay.
gonna have about a 5-minute window to deal with it.
Okay.
But when the weather changes, you have to really be on your mixture, because if not, you're gonna end up setting up before you really get on the panel.
Yeah, because the other day it set up before I could even get it off the board.
Right, yeah.
It was setting up as I went to the car.
You know, everybody complains about pinholes, and the proper way to do pinhole, or get rid of pinholes.
Right.
I don't care how many times I've mixed body filler, and in every different way you could possibly think of, you're gonna end up with a pinhole.
That's what I
Somewhere.
thought. Yeah.
All right, so nobody wants to agree with this. This is kind of like whipping air into it, but if you
That's
work it
how I
in,
do it.
work that hardener in real quick, you'll have time to work that air back out of it, if you've got air in it.
Okay.
You can kind of spoon it in like it's ice cream, and you're still not really whipping air into it, but you're getting that hardener in there. And now you can begin to work it, folding it. Trying to press that air out of it.
Okay.
But if you sit here and mess with it too long,
It'll go off.
it's gonna go off, and you're wasting everything. So
Okay.
we're just gonna address our areas that we kind of left a little bit of guide coat in, so we can see what we're doing.
Okay.
So number one thing when you're doing this, don't try to fill it. You want to press it in.
Okay.
You want that adhesion. The last thing you want is the body filler coming off. So you want to press it in nice and thin, get it on there. Then you can go back and kind of add a little bit where you need to. But your goal is to make it stick.
Okay.
So got it on. We know we need a little bit more through here. Going to a little lighter pressure. Just kind of roll it on. And then we're just gonna take a peek. And if you're gonna have any major pinholes, you're gonna see them.
Yeah.
But I think we're good.
That looks damn good.
And then, you know, you've got a couple little areas here. We've got plenty of it. So we'll put a little bit in these little spots, and then we can come back with that one big glaze coat
Okay.
and correct anything else. So you'll see this stuff's kind of,
That one also looks.
well, like I say, when it's mixed like that, you can see it's,
Yeah, it looks a lot creamier.
you know, it'll lay out. It kind of lays out on its own on a flat surface. Vertical surface, you got to be real careful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Too busy talking. That's the problem. All right, he's putting down the, what do you call it, the glaze coat?
This is glazing everything. We're wiping a very large area, putting a very thin coat on. But we're also trying to make sure we maintain that body line. So we're going to wipe this whole area. Let this dry. Same deal, make sure you press it down in there. We're not looking for a lot.
Right.
What we're trying to do is eliminate wasting primer, because when we're using the primer, we're going to be putting down primer one time. We're going to block sand that off, and we shouldn't have any issues since we're doing all this work. And then
Right.
That means we don't have to stop what we're doing and re-prime and re-sand. Body filler, you know, body filler ain't cheap, but it does dry faster and you can keep working faster. All right,
That's
just like that.
It's like cake icing. Makes you hungry, doesn't it?
When you're wiping this stuff, try to feather out your edges. It'll make it just easier to
Okay,
sand later.
makes sense.
So
Alright,
it
y'all,
don't take much.
if y'all couldn't tell, we have worked into darkness. So now we're working by artificial light, trying to get the body line. Thank God I have a pro here. All right, after several hours of sanding, we're to a point now where we can finally put on some primer. We're gonna wipe it down, get rid of the dust, and then he's gonna educate us on how to spray. All right?
That's right. Use a little bit of waterborne cleaner. Not going to really oversaturate the panel, but we are going to just try to get most of the dust off using a microfiber cloth. Water-based cleaner to get any grease and oil off that we're leaving behind.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the bodywork aspect of this video. I'd like to thank Jason from Paint by Curry for coming in and educating us on how to do some proper bodywork. When you see the finished product, you will see a difference between my work and his work. Next time, we will do the priming and the block sanding to show you exactly how to do that. I wanted to divide it up so we didn't have a really long video because I didn't want to bore you guys. I know how well you love bodywork videos. So tune in next time and we will do the priming and the block sanding. Jason will be back with us for that. This is Whatever Garage, out.